Well, good evening.
Hello.
Okay, so it's the end of Tuesday. It's Tuesday, yeah, Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
End of Tuesday. We're arriving here on Saturday, end of Tuesday. And we've had a very interesting and weird day
We
today.
have.
So today's events were, as I say, it was a bit strange because we wanted to do a catamaran trip, and everybody you read on like Mauritius holidays and stuff say, yeah, do the catamaran trips, and there's a few to choose from and shopping around, and there's a great variety in price.
Yeah.
So there's one operated by the holiday company, but that was quite expensive. There's some operated by Viator. There's some operated by the hotel. Anyway, we shopped around, and we got what we thought was a bit of a bargain, actually, didn't we?
Yeah.
€40 each for a catamaran trip to Cerfs, which is this luxury island in one of the lagoons on the eastern side of the island.
So you can go snorkeling. And
that was the kind of what we were promised.
Yeah, including the barbecue, wasn't it?
Barbecue, snorkeling, time on the island, and obviously a cruise on the catamaran through the lagoon.
Yeah.
And it was a bargain, €40 each, including transfers.
Yeah.
Bargain, sign me up.
Yeah.
And so we did that. So we were up early for that this morning, weren't we?
We were up early so we could get breakfast before we went.
Yeah, I collected at 7:45 this morning.
Yeah.
And the transfer was a minibus, and it did the rounds around all the hotels, and then
it took about an hour and a quarter, wasn't it, in total to get there?
Yeah, so it ferried us across the other side of the island, down past Belmar, and that looks nice over there.
It's actually nice to go and see the other side of the island, to actually see. It's very different to where we are, isn't it?
There's quite a few nice posh luxury resorts over there. That's why some people say Mauritius, it's the height of luxury and decadence and everything else. Because there's some very, very posh places over there.
They were posh, weren't they?
Yeah, they look really nice on that side of the island. We haven't seen so many over this side of the island, have we?
Not so much here. No.
This place is fine.
But it's nice, yeah.
It's nice. But some of the sort of like the luxury resorts we drove past today
were really luxurious, weren't they?
Yeah. So then we got on the catamaran, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then we went out on our catamaran cruise to Cerfs.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that we were a little bit surprised with how the day panned out, and there was an unfortunate turn of events as well.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, the first thing that we quickly realised was this was a party boat at the end of the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it didn't start off like that, but it ended up like that, didn't it?
It quickly degenerated into that.
Yeah. Because it wasn't to start off with, was it?
Yeah, so any notions that kind of we had, this might be a nice sort of relaxing scenic cruise through the lagoon and stuff. I mean, literally it was sort of like
it was quickly changed.
Tropical house hits blaring out this hi-fi in a deafening volume.
Very, very loud.
Very, very loud.
Especially if you're at the back.
And a lot of the fellow passengers were loving it, and there's wine and cocktails and beers flowing, and it quickly became a bit of a dance floor at the back.
It did become a dance floor back,
and it kind of it wasn't that sort of peaceful, tranquil trip that we kind of had in mind.
So you start off at the front. It was really good at the front because the catamaran with like this sort of, they call them the trampolines, don't they?
Yeah.
The trampolines bits at the side, at the front. Sorry, it's really nice to go on there, but because it was been such a beautiful day, you're just a bit scared to get burnt because you easily can get burnt. You thought I was going to get burnt, didn't you? No, but luckily I didn't. But so if you wanted to go at the back where it was shaded, that's where the party was going on. And so you could easily get a bit of a headache.
I mean, if you want to join in and you want to do all that,
fine.
It's great. And particularly the girls there, they were having a
great time.
Lots of dancing, lots of laughter, lots of partying.
They had a great time, but it was basically it wasn't sold as a party boat, was it?
No, it wasn't what we thought we were getting.
Because sometimes you can actually go and book on to party boats, but like in the evening.
We love a party, and wasn't quite ready for that.
No, not at that time in the morning.
It was a bit early.
It was like we were basically, we were sort of basically thinking it was like going to be a snorkel and looking at a lovely beach and all that sort of stuff.
So we went through the lagoon, and the scenery is gorgeous. The soundtrack was deafening, but the scenery was gorgeous. And we went round to this sort of inlet, and then we got off the catamaran, and then we went on a small tender boat. We went up the river to this waterfall.
Oh, that was good.
That was fantastic.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was quite spectacular,
Yeah,
actually.
to see this beautiful waterfall.
It was absolutely stunning
Yeah.
waterfall, and there were birds flying over the top with really
really?
long tails, didn't they?
Yeah, they look like, what do they look like?
Like
Sort
a
of
phoenix
feet.
tail.
They did, yeah, look like a phoenix.
Very,
So,
very
don't know what they
unusual.
were. They were white, weren't they?
We'll look it up, and
Mm.
if we can find out, we'll put it below. If
Yeah.
not, please just bear with us. But
maybe you know.
that water, yeah, let us know in the comments
Yeah,
below.
if
If
you
you've
know
seen
what-
those birds, you know the ones that are white,
Yeah.
with a massive
Tail.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
And so that was good. Then we came back onto the catamaran,
Yeah,
and then they took us out and they allowed us to snorkel, didn't they?
they did. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we were off
They
the.
said you had got an hour and a half to go and snorkel.
So we were off the boat, and we
Yeah.
were snorkeling. But I think, like we've seen elsewhere here in Mauritius, snorkeling in the lagoon is quite precarious.
It can be, yeah.
And the main hazard is
Boats.
the speedboats that literally whiz around without much of a care or attention, and they're flying at hell of a speed, and they seem to want to show off and all that, and make spray and all that kind of stuff. And it seems, I don't know how they can see who's in the water.
So you've got to be really careful. I stayed quite close to the boat.
Yeah.
I didn't go far from the boat.
Yeah.
Because I could hear and feel waves. When the speedboats go past, they make waves as well.
Let's be clear here. This isn't our catamaran pilot's fault or anything like that. These are other, pilots of other speedboats, other craft in the lagoon that don't seem to have much care for the safety of who's in the water.
Didn't you see one go so close to a lady?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I literally winced as, he turned away, but he turned away at a very late moment, and there's only one winner if a boat hits somebody snorkeling.
I know.
It did cause me a bit of concern that, and it was best, I think, as Annette said, just to stay very close to the.
Well, I did see. I didn't go too far from the catamaran, and I did see lots of fish and loads of different ones that I'd seen in our beach nearby. So so I was quite pleased with what I saw.
And that's the thing here in the lagoon, the snorkeling is really good.
It is,
and if you can do it safely, you can have an amazing time.
Yeah.
But being out right in the middle of the lagoon with the speedboats whizzing up and down,
you've got to be careful.
Got to be careful.
Yeah.
Got to be careful.
Yeah, it's just an accident waiting to happen, isn't it, really?
I do think that. I really do. It was good. But anyway, we did the snorkeling.
Yeah.
And then we came back on board, and then they were doing a barbecue.
They were doing a barbecue,
So that was included in the €40.
Yeah, it was like value, salads, wasn't it? And they barbecued some fish, barbecued some chicken, barbecued some sausages, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And that was and by the time they cooked it and kept it, it wasn't that hot, was it?
No.
And this is where things started to go quite badly wrong, particularly for you, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Yeah. Well,
blow by blow again.
It's sort of unfortunately ruined my holiday a little bit. So, but anyway, I was lining up, got my barbecue, and they've got some steps up there, and they're telling people not to come down there with wet things because I suppose they know it's a slip hazard. Obviously, people haven't taken any notice; they haven't checked, so it's obviously wet. So I go up the steps and then slip. So I go flying. I'm almost like a baby giraffe, legs all over the place, basically. And my plate, I'm holding on to my plate because it's a glass plate, so I don't want to drop it. So I'm going like this. So my food goes flying off the plate. Luckily, some kind person, one of the other passengers, grabbed hold of the plate for me as I tried to get up. And the people on the captain and all that sort of stuff, they said, "Are you okay?" And me being me, I'm fine. I got up, sort of thing.
You hurt yourself, didn't you?
But I did, yeah.
You've twisted your knee.
Yeah, I've really hurt my knee. I've got a bandage on it at the moment.
Bandaged up. You're hobbling like crazy. You're on painkillers.
Yeah, I've got painkillers. Another kind passenger said, "Are you okay?" And I sort of said, "Well, no, not really. I could do with some ice just to bring swellings down." And she kindly went and got me a bag of ice. You went and got me a bandage.
Yeah, I think if you're going to have any kind of beef with the crew of the boat and stuff, when they could see that Annette was actually in more trouble than, "No, I'm fine," and actually was having to need ice and was in pain and was needing assistance from the other passengers and everything like that, They didn't actually offer to take charge or help or administer first aid.
They didn't offer to do any first aid, and they didn't even come and ask me if I'm all right through the day.
That was disappointing.
It was disappointing, really. They didn't say, "Are you okay?" Look, but lots of all the other passengers are saying, "Are you okay? How's your knee now?" and all this sort of stuff.
In many different languages.
In lots of different languages.
Many different languages, and that's the nice thing, the kindness of strangers. And just disappointing. The people that were responsible for our safety didn't really.
No one there for us, first aid or anything like that.
Really.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing.
That was a bit disappointing, really. Yeah. But anyway, so once we got your ice packed and we got a bandage on and all that kind of stuff, and they then took us to Ila Surf Island, and we were deposited ashore. So we managed to kind of get you off into a tender boat and then taken ashore. But you know, the rest of the passengers went off to explore and wander around the island. We don't know what they saw.
Some of them went snorkeling again, didn't they?
Some of them went snorkeling again. I don't know what they saw, but because we couldn't go very far, could we?
You had to be careful anyway, even if you were going to go swimming, you had to be really careful. There were so many sea urchins, weren't there? So many.
All over the shoreline as well.
All washed up ashore and things like that. And they do say that if you step on a sea urchin, it can be really painful.
So you know, we found not far from where they deposited us, we found a nice little spot on the beach.
And I just rested my knee.
You rested your knee.
Sat there
we sat eating a bag of sweets that we bought yesterday. Well, a couple of bags of sweets, didn't we? And the Super U in Grand Bay. And then I had the drone with me, so I whizzed the drone up, flew it around for an hour, and that was a bit of fun, a bit of footage, and that was nice. And then you know that time disappeared, and then it was time for you to sort of limp back to the place,
back on the boat,
get back on the tender boat, and get back on the catamaran. And then they took us back to the dock and got back on the minibus, and then they sort of ferried us. And then we got you back here, and we've done a bit more first aid, and you definitely got some kind of sprain or a twist on your knee.
Something, it's quite painful, but you know, hopefully, I'm on the ibuprofen at the moment.
It is going to change our plans for the week because we had booked a bit of a 4-hour hike in the Black River Gorge later on in the week, so with a guide that was going to take us waterfalls and the wildlife and everything else. There's no way you're going to make that.
I'm looking forward to that, but
not with the swelling on your
I'm not going to be able to do that now.
So that's a shame. But we'll come up with a plan B, and you know, and you just need to get better, don't you?
I do,
So
it's
just a bit of a strange day. Before anybody types in "you're jinxed," we've already said that.
Can you believe it? You just couldn't believe it.
You couldn't believe it. Never mind. But you know, it's as long as you're okay, and you know, and that's the main.
I'm hoping it's nothing really serious, and hopefully it'll just in a few days it'll start.
So we freshened up, didn't we? We went and had a meal in the hotel again, which isn't the greatest, but it's okay. It's food.
It's food, isn't it?
It's
at the end
food.
of the day.
And
I wasn't going to go and walk anywhere.
No, it's not difficult to walk into town for the restaurants, so we just enjoyed the food here. And then turning in, we got another trip tomorrow, haven't we?
Yeah, not as early.
Not as early, and not a lot of walking.
No, this is going around in a taxi, isn't it? Taking us to all the places.
The south of the island.
Yeah.
So hopefully not too much walking.
No.
Certainly you can't walk very far at all.
Not too far, no. But I think they're going to take us to temples and things like that. So kind of walk around a little temple and things like that.
Okay, we'll see. But see how we get on and see if the knee is any better tomorrow. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And thanks for supporting our vlog so far.
Bye.
Bye. If you've got any questions about this video, then why not drop us a question in the box below? We always reply, and why not drop us a comment as well? And if you'd like to see more content like this,
please like and subscribe.